Hi guys, what's up? Zax here and welcome back to more F1 Championship Edition. Thanks again for the amazing support on this series. I always appreciate it. It's really nice to see. Not so great qualifying though here in Malaysia. 21st place, but hopefully the rain is going to give us maybe just something to get us a bit higher up the field. It gives us a bit of an advantage that the cars are sort of equalled out just a little bit more in the wet conditions. So starting near the back, we're going to try our best to just get our way through the field here. I don't know why I'm changing views, sorry about that. I know you guys hate it when I do that, but we're just sticking to the outside down into turn 1 here in Malaysia. Hoping he'll maybe get us a couple of positions here, but I'm so scared to just go into turn 1 because I'm like, someone's going to crash into me or I'm going to crash into someone. So I was just going around the outside of everyone here and it didn't actually end up doing too well actually. Gained a couple of places up to 16th or 14th even now, but we've still got some slowish cars in front of us, which was a bit frustrating. But even Montero, my teammate Montero, is up into 16th place here, so overall Midland actually have a pretty decent start here. And you can see a Renault not that far up the order there, which is interesting to see. But this first lap was crucial on this race because I needed to get past as many people as possible. I had actually decent pace around this track, it was just the rainy conditions sort of threw it all up in the air and qualifying just didn't go to plan. So really it was about maximising race day and trying to make sure I got the first lap right. Small mistake there. It's going to be a lot of small mistakes throughout this race, guys. Hopefully you don't hate me for that, but yeah, a lot of little mistakes throughout this whole race mean that I obviously lose time through them. But look at that, Villeneuve diving it down the inside once again. And Liuzzi's quite close behind me as well here. Less than half a second behind me, Liuzzi, and my teammate Montero is only 7 tenths back. So Villeneuve got past him once again. Now Coulthard, I can't even see the car in front of him. This rainy condition is probably the worst rain I've ever seen on this game, and it's going to be pretty hard to get past people because you just don't want to crash into them. I was actually thinking about moving past Coulthard there, but glad I didn't because I got a really good exit and managed to get, or at least side by side with him here down this long back straight here. I think he's actually still alongside me at this point, that's why I don't sort of dive back to the inside. But we are in 12th place currently and braking very late into the hairpin at the end of the lap and sort of cutting back on Ralf Schumacher and back up into 11th place. So a really good first lap, 22nd to 11th. I know you guys are going to say that's incredibly unrealistic, but this rainy conditions really are helping me out in the way that I'm just risking it a bit more maybe than the AI are, and very close to actually crashing into Highfield and just in a straight line there. So now I've got Trulli and Raikkonen in front. It's weird seeing Raikkonen so far down the field because his McLaren should be in the top 4 or 5 cars in all reality. I don't know why he's down the grid so much there, but in a way it's good for us because we can get past him and actually be ahead of a decent car here and hopefully just show that we're good, and maybe other teams will look at that and be like, yeah, we'll keep that guy, or want to get that guy on the contract. First sector was actually pretty good there, gained quite a bit of time on Trulli, but then I go and lose it by going a little bit off the track back there. As I said, little small mistakes throughout this race did sort of maybe even ruin a better position than I'm in the top 10 currently. I could even be in maybe a points position at this current time if I didn't make these little mistakes right here. Bit frustrating thinking that, but that's just how it is. Now, trying to catch up to Trulli wasn't as easy as I thought because the Toyota is actually a pretty decent car and we've both got the same engine, so it's going to be pretty tough because in a straight line he's probably going to be faster. Around the corners he's obviously going to be faster with a better car. So there's not really many places or anywhere where I've actually got the better car, which is frustrating, but that's just how it is. And now we're just going to try our best and not do anything silly, really, is the main thing at this sort of stage of the race, because you can easily go and dive it up the inside of Trulli, but I don't want to crash. Don't want to crash, that's the main thing here. So, sort of weaving around a little bit here, but there's some oil down. Was a car retiring? I think at the side of the track. Who is it? They're retiring as they go into the pits. I think it's Alonso, who's blown up his engine going into the pit lane there. So that's actually put us into the points, and it will put us into 9th overall after the pit stops are all completed. So yeah, that's good. And if we can get past Raikkonen here, actually I'm not too sure where this actually end up putting us after the pit stops, but getting past Raikkonen here, going side by side, exactly what we want to be doing here. Raikkonen not giving an inch, and I sort of accidentally squeezed him out a bit, but he still kept his foot in, but then backed off a little bit after, so we're actually ended up in 6th place here. Raikkonen looked down the inside, so I had to slightly turn out of the corner. It's all going off here on lap number 3 here. in Malaysia. The rain is still pouring down here, maybe a little bit lighter than it was earlier on in the race, but it's still not good conditions whatsoever. We're still going to have to switch over to the wet tyres once again. I'm not even too sure whether they have intermediate tyres in this game, and even if they have sort of, what's the word, they have that weather which changes. I'm not too sure that's what dynamic weather. I'm not even sure that has dynamic weather in this game that actually changes to get drier throughout the race, but it certainly looked like it was raining less, or it certainly looks like it was raining less than it did at the start. But I'm not too sure that's just because I'm not in a group of cars, and the spray isn't just all over the place here. So 2.3 seconds back from Barrichello, and a top 5 finish if we can get past him, which would be pretty incredible. But we've got to just not do anything silly at this stage of time, as I said a lap ago, because this is a really good position here for Midland, and it could end up being a really good result for the championship once again. Obviously we got 2 points in the first round of the season in Bahrain, and this could be a really good result, getting maybe even more points here today. Looks like all the cars in front are pitting, but we make a slight mistake going to the pit stops. I'm not too sure what happened there, but the car just sort of lifted off. I'm not too sure whether I went off the grass. I don't think I did, but the car flew, half spun, and I lost about 2 seconds there, which might end up putting me back behind Raikkonen. Don't think he's pitting this lap, could be wrong, but I don't think he is, because we'd have seen him. But holding up a couple of cars here as we get pull into the Midland pit stop here, and here we are. Make sure we get all of the tyres and everything done quickly. I think it's actually one of my best pit stops ever. Maybe it's not. I can't remember. I've recorded 4 episodes of this so far, and I remember one of the races had a really good pit stop. Don't think it was that one though. 9.1 isn't exactly fast, so 12th place we come out of the pits, and Barrichello and Button, both Hondas in front of us there. Interesting where we're going to actually come out after everyone's done their pit stop, because at this current time not everyone has pitted, so it will be interesting to see if we will be in the points after everyone has pitted. That's the main thing. We need to get in the points, as I stated at the end of the last video. Into the points every race is the aim. Obviously a very slow first sector there because we are pitted, but big gap back to Ralf, Schumacher, Coulthard, so we're looking good to be in the top 10 after everyone's pitted, and hopefully inside the points. But these little mistakes here, like something like that, that's cost easily 3 seconds, that stupid mistake there, which means once again lost time. But I think these wet conditions helped me out in a way that it was more equal in terms of the car performance, but it also meant that I was making more mistakes, and I hadn't really. I remember down my sort of career mode so far, not really that sure about how many full wet races we've actually had. I can't really remember any, but I probably have had 1 or 2. But Barrichello and Button, as I said, Barrichello wasn't that far in front of me as we went into the pits, but we made 2 silly mistakes within 1 lap into the pit lane, and then going off the grass about midway through the lap. But we got. Is that engine smoke ahead? I think it is. I don't think the spray from the rain is that big. It looks like a car's pulling off to the side of the track. It's Felipe Massa in his Ferrari, so a big name team. Car has gone up in flames once again. Obviously Alonso earlier on in the race, and now Felipe Massa. I'm not actually sure. Maybe Alonso didn't actually retire from the race. We'll see later on and the results, but I think Alonso retired. I could be wrong, but look at this, 7th place. How good is that? Well, it's not really 7th place, it's 8th place because the game hasn't updated properly, but that's Raikkonen in front, so we're actually in 8th place. So trying to look around the inside outside, we're going to get past that. It's like a nearly identical thing to a couple of laps ago when we were going side by side with Raikkonen, but we couldn't quite manage to get it done that time. And obviously Raikkonen's car is very fast. The McLaren Mercedes is just a really good car, and it's pretty tough to get anywhere near them in terms of straight line performance. They weren't the greatest around the corners, but their engine was very good, remember correctly, in real life. And I think it is in this game as well. You'll see in the straight line, they just pull away by so much. So currently 8th place into the points. I think everyone has stopped. Could be wrong, but I think everyone has stopped in this race now. So that means that we're in a points position. Ralf Schumacher is way back, about 3 or 4 seconds behind us here. So looking, actually maybe it's not 3 or 4 seconds. We'll see through the next sector split, but it looks like it's actually caught me up quite a bit throughout this last lap and a half here. Yes, just 2 seconds now, the gap between me and Ralf Schumacher. So the gap is coming down. Not what I wanted, but it might end up being alright. I don't think we're going to lose that much time, but 8th place looking pretty solid here, but that's not what we want to do with just over a lap to go here. Don't want to do a Perezing off the track here when we have a chance of doing something good for our team. Obviously they are fighting for a win, but we're fighting for the 7th place, but you know what I mean. Going down to the penultimate, going down the straight for the penultimate time is what I'm trying to say here, and I'm not too sure. I think there might be a car in the pit lane. Could be wrong. It looks like maybe it's one of the Williams. We'll see when we go up to the start-finish line here. Maybe it's one of the... That's the BMW Williams. They look pretty similar on the mini-map. But we're going to get past Heidfeld there. And we've actually gone up to 7th place here. Heidfeld's going to be quite close to us coming out of the pits, remember correctly. But good stuff, up to 7th place. And we're quite close to Raikkonen as well here. In fact, we're right behind Raikkonen. Nearly a mirror image of what happened last lap as he came out the pits. Are we going to manage to get into the slipstream enough to look down to the inside? Well, there's so much spray, it's hard to see where even Raikkonen is, but don't think we're going to be able to get past him here. We're going to brake maybe a little bit later than him, but that doesn't help, does it? We run a little bit wide, the traction on the curbing isn't as much, but still, we're very fast in that first sector. That's where we gain a lot of time on the likes of Raikkonen, and maybe that's the part of the track where their car is bad, but look at this. What? I just don't understand. How is that a 6-second penalty? I mean, it's not like the game can go and be patched now, but I always get annoyed about that just because it's so frustrating. But throughout this career mode, it's going to be a big factor about losing points that way, I'm sure. And I remember correctly, it's going to happen in Imola. I remember that very well. In episode 4, I get quite a few of those corner cut penalties just because I misjudged the track quite a bit. I'm not any good at San Marino or Imola. No good at that track whatsoever, which is frustrating because I want to do well there because it's a decent track, but it never comes together and I always get bad results there. But it didn't actually go as badly as hoped, or not badly as hoped. It didn't go as badly as thought. But we'll get around to that in episode 4. You'll see then. But Michael Schumacher goes and wins this race, the Malaysian Grand Prix, and looks like we're going to come home in 7th place. To get 4 points in the first 2 races and already get more points in these first 2 races than our whole of our career mode so far up to this point. So interesting stuff, and up to the start finish line there to bring home more solid points for Midland and a really good result once again. Really happy with that, and that will put us under 4 points in the championship as well, so that's just perfect really at the end of the day. So did Alonso retire? We'll see in a second here when I remember to press the continue button whether Alonso did retire from the race. But yeah, doesn't look like he did finish, does it? So yeah, look at that, Montoya finishing 2nd there as well. Yeah, Massa and Alonso 2 retirements, and look at us, 8th place in the championship, which is good. But yeah guys, thanks again for watching. It's been Alex Maddy. Goodbye.
As the drivers and teams get used to that sharp turn 1 and the extended long straights. Very technical inception.